I love this entire line of thinking because, I mean, it goes down to just more of abundance mindset. Most of the people that I know that are wealthiest in the world just don't see business as a zero-sum game.
Yep.
Right? It's just like everyone actually can win. Whereas in a lot of games, it isn't structured that way. Whereas like even just the build a business competition you mentioned earlier, like sure there was one winner, but do you think that number 2 to number 100 on the list was like, oh man, I'm so bummed that I only got to 100,000.
That's the craziest part. Number 2,
Right.
number 100 have built $1 million brands also, right? And that's this idea of like positive sum thinking. I think is so important. I know there's like, like I'm an optimist. And I know you are also, Alex. But one thing that I think people miss is often when you go to raise money, for those of you that are looking to raise money, one criticism you often get from investors is this concept of TAM, total addressable market. How big is your market? And effectively, what they're trying to say is that if you look at your market, it's a pie. And your TAM is effectively the pie, and your market share is a slice of the pie. I think that's very flawed thinking. And I think if we would have done that at Shopify, we would not be a $100 billion company. Our version was not, let's take a piece of the pie. Rather, let's grow the pie itself. And so we'll get to the IPO in a second, but we took our company public in 2015, May 2015, on the New York Stock Exchange. It was $1 billion company at that point. So, 1% of the market cap that it is today. At the time, before you go public, you win this roadshow. We did 93 meetings all over the US, and you're meeting these investors and you're meeting these funds, and you want them to invest in these big funds that have trillions of dollars under management. And this idea of TAM would come up over and over again. And I needed to have an answer for what the TAM was. And I remember it off by heart. There were 46 million retail SMBs on the planet. I think at the time we had 100 or 200,000 of them. So big growth opportunity. Ironically, if you sort of, we're now 9 years past the IPO. If you look at Shopify today, a lot of our customers are not just SMBs. We have very large companies. We're also well beyond e-commerce. We have tons of merchants that use us for point of sale, physical retail. We have a capital business, a payments business. There was no way for them to for me to give an answer about TAM in terms of like foreshadowing what we would become. And so I love this idea that you're talking about, which is like positive sum thinking and optimism, where share the wealth of other people around you, because rather than sort of thinking of the pie as sort of this finite space, think about the pie as infinite and encourage more people to participate. That's how you build these like generational 100-year multi-billion-dollar companies.
I talked to a fund manager the other day, and he has a public fund, and he was saying, one of the things that I really like is that I've got 10,000 people praying that I win every night.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, and I think Zig Ziglar said something to the degree of like, you can have whatever you want in life as long as you help other people get what they want first.
Yeah.
And I just really believe that, because I actually feel like I've actually put some numbers to this, but I think that from an entrepreneurship perspective, it's about 1/10. And what I mean by that is like, you get to keep about 1/10 of the wealth that you generate for other people. And so I've just seen that from like the number of entrepreneurs that I look at, like how much the market cap, like not market caps, the like total revenue that's run through their platforms versus how much their equity stake is and what it's valued at. Like the amount of times that I've seen that equation done where like it's 10x, like you have to make 10 times the amount of money for other people as you'll be able to make.